So, all right, so we are live, and let me just make sure that everyone can hear us, and then we will get started. So, if you guys can hear us out there, can you guys let us know in the chat box so that we can start the broadcast? All right. So, all right. Okay, so we got confirmation that the folks can hear us, Lior. So let me see here.
Okay.
All right, guys. This is Ty Zen. I'm broadcasting from Dallas, the city of Dallas, one of the best cities to live in America. And today we have a special guest that is broadcasting, that's coming from north of Tel Aviv in Israel. We have our NXT core developer, Lior Yaffe. Say hello, Lior, to everyone in the audience.
Hi guys. Nice meeting you.
Okay, so Lior, you are broadcasting right now from north of Tel Aviv in a town called Hadera. Okay,
Yes.
Glad to have you here. So you are one of the core developers that I have been trying to get on our channel for 4 years now. Okay, so back when
you're trying hard enough, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm glad that we can finally get you on here now to update the NXT community on what's going on. And I thought that now would be a good time to do that, since NXT was born in November of 2013, and by a gentleman named that goes by the nickname or the handle BC Next on the Bitcoin Talk forums. And he did like one of the earliest known and recorded, I guess, crowd sales that everybody knows as an ICO right now. He did it back then, and he asked the community for only 21 Bitcoins. He was not trying to raise a ton of money. He asked for only 21 Bitcoins back in November of 2013. And there was a bunch of people, like 70 something people gave him 21 Bitcoins, if I remember it correctly. And then that was how the NXT blockchain got started. It was the first NXT, it was the first blockchain, quote unquote, 2.0 that came out. It was the first official one before, and Ethereum was the second blockchain 2.0 that came out. And when we started our cryptocurrency investing channel here back in 2013, you guys project, the NXT project, was the first altcoin that we discussed on our channel. And we were, everybody gave us a hard time about it because, we were talking about NXT because it was the first pre-mined cryptocurrency that was out there. And boy, everybody gave us a hard time for it back then. But we thought it was a good investment, and it's done well for us over the years. And BC Next never wanted to come on camera. And so when myself and a few other guys were trying to set up the NXT Foundation, we were trying to get somebody a real face for NXT. And I remember one of my colleagues, Bass, who goes by the handle Damalon, he would always tell me that I needed to get you on because you were available to speak about it on camera. So can you talk a little bit about your background of what you were doing before you got into the NXT development, Lior?
Yes. So I've been, I've been interested in computers from when I was a child. I mean, studied computer science in university, worked for almost 20 years in a corporate, as corporate developer, development manager of a team of programmers, mainly with products related to mainframe integration, completely unrelated to crypto or to anything like this. And I started, beginning of 2014, I started to get interested in crypto. I immediately saw that Bitcoin is too big, too much politics, not really interesting for developers. I wanted to work on something on the core of a blockchain, not on client-side applications. And because of the prior knowledge that I had, I immediately got interested in NXT. It took me a while, but at some point I decided to join and start contributing to the NXT blockchain. Still kept my day job for a while. Now, more recently, more recently, we as a part of the NXT development, the developers of NXT, we saw that, that the blockchain is becoming a big thing, and that you cannot just continue to work as an open source developer. I mean, if you need legal protection, if you need commercial relations, you need a legal entity, and that's when we established Gerorida, which is it's a company based in the Netherlands that holds the intellectual property of the NXT and now also of the Ardor blockchain.
So just real quick, Lior, you said that you chose to there was too much politics in the Bitcoin blockchain. So when you got interested into the blockchain, in the cryptocurrency space, you decided to work on the NXT project because there was less politics going on back then?
Not only this. First of all, I'm a Java programmer. NXT is developed in Java, so that's one good reason. Then, I looked, I joined the forum and I started to see what's going on, and it was so fascinating. I mean, so many interesting concepts and ideas, and a little bit of mystery around the whole project. I liked it very much, and so I decided. I mean, I looked at several other projects, but I quite quickly identified NXT as one of the most interesting projects around.
Speaking of interesting, a lot of people that are watching this may not know this, so I want to share this with them. But it's interesting how all the early contributors and all the early volunteers to the NXT community, including myself, including you, including Bass, including David, including Max, right, have all become very, very, very successful in the crypto community right now. And just so that you guys are listening to this, right? So myself, obviously we have the most popular and the first and the most popular cryptocurrency investing channel on YouTube that we started. And NXT was the first cryptocurrency that we talked about. And then Ethereum was the second one that we suggested everyone invest in. And then Max, who was also helping to start the NXT Foundation, he's the one that founded Lisk now. And the last time I checked, they were like at $7 or $8 a token. So that's a big project, successful project that they're doing.
No need to speak about these, maybe nice projects, but I think let's focus on NXT.
Yeah, I was just sharing people a little bit of the background, So like when you, and then you and your team obviously started Gerorida, right? And now you guys have just finished the crowd sale for it, for the Ignis crowd sale. Could you explain to the community the difference in, so that in case someone's new, the difference between NXT and then Ardor and then now Ignis?
Yes, so NXT is a blockchain based on proof of stake, built in Java, running in production for over 4 years now. It's quite amazing, but it is very feature rich. We had one of the first asset exchange, what people used to call colored coin. many building blocks for decentralized applications like messages and account properties and file uploads and things like that. On top of that, many of the smart contracts that every decentralized application needs, like voting and marketplace, anonymity features, several others, were implemented into the core, not as a programmable smart contract, but as a smart contract that is implemented into the core and exposed through APIs. So NXT is working. I mean, it enjoyed some popularity, but evidently didn't become the most popular blockchain. Around a year and a half ago, we decided to start a new project which we called Ardor, which is aimed to solve some of the most fundamental problems in the blockchain arena right now. One of them is about the blockchain bloat, that every transaction you ever submit to a blockchain has to stay there forever, and every new node that joins the blockchain has to re-download and revalidate all the transactions. And this, of course, cannot be sustainable. So this is one of the problems we attack with Ardor. And the way it is attacked is by implementing a parent-child chain architecture, where the parent chain is dealing with the proof-of-stake process based on the same model used in NXT, same battle-hardened 4-year-old model, while the child chains are used for the smart contracts, okay, for the asset exchange, for voting, for marketplace, and so on. And this allows us to do something amazing, which is the transactions on the child chain. After a while, after they are buried deep enough in the blockchain, we can prune them, remove them completely from the blockchain, and only save a cryptographic proof that they ever existed. So a new node that re-downloads the blockchain no longer needs to download the whole transaction history, but only the transaction history of the parent chain, which deals with the balances of the forgers, of the guys that generate the blocks, and the last and a snapshot of each child chain state, and let's say 24 hours of transactions, just to make sure that there are no reorgs that requires historical transactions. So this is the basic concept of Ardor. So we have NXT, proven blockchain technology, Ardor, which is about solving the blockchain bloat, and several other issues that we can talk about later, and Ignis, which is the first child chain of the Ardor. You can think about Ardor as a platform. It's no longer just a blockchain. It's an architecture of multiple blockchains, okay? Parent chains that we also call Ardor. Ignis is the first child chains, but there will be other child chains later.
Okay, so Jerry Urida is focused on building the first child chain called Ignis, right? And so if there are other developers that want to come in and build other child chains, they are welcome to do that, correct?
So right now, I mean, the good thing is that we have a lot of perspective and a lot of experience to learn from. And I think one of the mistakes we made with NXT, with the Asset Exchange and with the monetary system, was that it was too simple to create a token. So anyone could create a token that they didn't care about it, or use it to scam people, or just didn't have a real project behind it to justify the creation of the token. So NXT in a sense became, even though some interesting projects did emerge from NXT, like for example, NEM raised their first funding on NXT, and Saya Coin raised their first funding on NXT. But most of the assets that people issued on NXT did not make any significant impact. And we want to change that with the child chains. We want to have more control on the child chains and make sure that each child chain actually has a real use case behind it and a real team that, I mean, we cannot guarantee 100% success, but at least 100% effort to make a real product or a real interesting, real life use case out of each child chain.
So basically, that was a concern that I did have when I first saw the NXT Asset Exchange. I agree with you that too many people were spamming the network because there was no cost to create that asset. So now you guys are coming out with Ignis and this new Ardor platform. I believe that by making it a small cost to actually create an asset, I think that's a lot better solution. So basically, you have the NXT platform here that started in 2013, the blockchain, and now the Ardor tokens are just an asset that's on the NXT platform. And my understanding is that beginning in 2018, right, the Ardor platform will now exist independently. It's no longer on top of the NXT platform as an asset token, but it's a completely independent platform over here by itself. And Ignis will be the first child chain off of that platform. Is that correct?
It's correct. So right now, as you said, Ardor is traded as an asset on NXT. On January 1st, we're going to launch the Ardor blockchain to production. We will issue the Genesis block, and then the Ardor asset will be frozen on NXT. It will actually freeze it a few days earlier. And when we launch the Ardor platform, both Ardor and Ignis will become tradable tokens on the new blockchain.
Okay. So just to make sure that that everyone understands this correctly. So in January 2018. The Genesis block for the Ardor platform will get launched, and both the Ardor tokens and the the Ignis tokens will be tradable, and they will be active and working on the new platform. So the first question that comes to everyone's mind that's been in NXT for the last 4 years is, what happens to the NXT platform or the NXT blockchain or the NXT tokens after the launch after January 1st of 2018? What happens to the NXT?
Okay, so NXT, the NXT blockchain will continue to exist as it is now. I mean, any applications that are working on the NXT blockchain will continue to operate. People can still use it. It's a very good platform for several use cases like asset exchange. Like, for example, the ICO. The ICO of Ignis that we issued it on the NXT blockchain. And actually, around this ICO, we've built a very robust platforms for crowds funding using NXT. So definitely I see people continue to use NXT for crowdfunding, for voting, for several other applications that already emerged. I mean, if you think about it, NXT operated for 4 years. I mean, in production with almost no funding. I mean, the funding we had for the NXT Foundation was ridiculous, and Jill Rida didn't have any real funding until recently. So, and NXT still operated, and I mean, it wasn't the most the highest market cap blockchain, but it definitely was always on the radar of everybody in the industry. And I think we've set many industry standards in some sense. So think about what we can do with it now that we have funding and we have a strong company standing behind it. I mean, the time is right now for actually starting real businesses to use blockchain. So we can, first of all, you can continue with the existing applications that are already available on NXT. Then we we released a kit that we call the blockchain creation kit. That what it gives you is to take the NXT source code, okay, and launch your own blockchain instance based on this 4 years old robust and stable and scalable blockchain infrastructure. So if you want to launch a new blockchain, you decide that you cannot use any of the existing blockchain because of cost considerations, the fees, scalability, and so on, you can take the NXT source code, create your own Genesis block, and launch a new blockchain, okay? And develop on top of it. You can launch it with all the source code, all right? What we give you, the requirement is that you'll open source your source code and that you'll give 10% of your new token to existing NXT holders, okay? So this way you would compensate NXT holders on copying the technology, cloning the technology, what we call. So instead of the Bitcoin clones that just invent, Bitcoin Cash and then Bitcoin Gold and who knows what Bitcoin something they're going to invent now. With NXT, you can clone, but you'll benefit the existing NXT holder, not just dilute them. All right, so that's another idea. We call it the NXT blockchain creation kit. Okay, so just not to confuse too much, we are going to launch Ardor and Ignis to production January 1st. NXT will continue to operate as is, and people can also use the NXT source code to launch their own blockchains using the creation kit.
Okay, so I have 2 questions that's on everyone's mind based on what you said there, Lior. Okay, if you and Jellerita is focused on building Ardor and Ignis, who is going to be focused on building NXT? That's one question. Who's going to be doing that? And the second question is, if NXT is here and Ardor is supposed to be the next generation or the next evolution of blockchain technology, why would someone use the NXT blockchain if the new Ardor blockchain is better? Because that was the reason why that you guys built Ardor, right? Because you guys saw the things that could not be done on NXT, so you built Ardor. So why, if I'm a new blockchain development company or team, and let's say that I'm with my high school or college friends and I want to build a new project on the NXT Ardor platform, why would I choose the NXT platform when the Ardor platform is supposed to be newer and better?
Right. So I'll explain. We are trying to. There is no in the blockchain industry. There is no one solution that fits everything. I mean, Ardor is just going to be launched on January 1st. It will take a while until it stabilizes and reaches its full potential. NXT is already stable technology, and people in the software industry can appreciate what it means to be in production with a public blockchain for several years. It tells a lot about the stability and the state of the product. So my vision is to create what we call a one-stop shop, okay, for blockchain solutions. I mean, if you need the high scalability and the solution to blockchain bloat that Ardor provides, and you can fit your solution into a child chain with the restrictions that we impose on child chains, then definitely go with Ardor. If you have a simple use case that does not need a lot of scale, but need a simple solution quickly using the simple API we expose, you can go ahead and use NXT now. I mean, we've just completed a successful crowdfunding over NXT using features that we developed that no other platform has. That I can go into this if you like later. So we have a very good crowdfunding platform, for example, with NXT. But on top of that, if you have a use case that you cannot right now implement with NXT. Because of the restrictions of the existing smart contracts, you can clone NXT and create whatever solution you like. You like a new inflation model, go ahead. You like more token, less token, you like to destroy token, issue tokens. You can basically take NXT and shape it in any direction that you like using the NXT creation. Now NXT, you are, in a sense, you are correct that the focus of Gelorida in the upcoming few months would be on stabilizing Ardor and making it reach its full potential. But we are hiring more developers, and I definitely see us making progress both with Ardor and with NXT.
Okay. So you.
The message is we are not abandoning NXT.
Okay. So that's what it looked like, and that's why we had comments from people in the chat box right now that said that after Ardor launches, everyone's going to sell off NXT and dump it, right? But you just said something that makes a lot of.
So if it's like that, why don't they sell it now? Just sell it now.
Yeah. No. What you said just made a lot of sense to me. What you just said, Lior, you just gave one of the best explanations that I have found about the existence of NXT, Ardor, and Ignis. You said that there is no such thing as a one size or one solution that fits all. You're always going to have advantages with each style or type of blockchain. And what you're saying is that the Ardor blockchain solves a lot of problems better, but the NXT blockchain solves a lot of problems better with that. So it depends upon what your needs are, will determine which blockchain that you use. Okay, all right, so that makes sense. So that explains the reason why NXT still needs to exist, because it provides a better solutions to certain problems than even Ardor does, even though Ardor is a newer blockchain.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So my understanding is that when you guys created a Gelorida, you guys created a total amount of Ignis tokens, and half of those Ignis tokens were used in the crowd sale, and the other 50% of the Ignis tokens are going to be distributed to the current NXT holders towards the end of December. So can you explain the thinking behind that? Because it seems like you guys are trying to, how do you call it? You guys are trying to make sure that the NXT holders, token holders, are compensated for investing into NXT the last 4 years, because you're airdropping the 50% of the Ignis tokens on top of the NXT token holders, and then you're also requiring that anybody build a new blockchain based on the NXT code, they have to give 10% of their tokens to the NXT community, right? So is this your Gelorida's plan for compensating the NXT holders for sharing and helping to build the NXT community for the last 4 years? What's the thought behind doing all that?
Sure. So first of all, let's take you back to 2016 when we distributed Ardor to the NXT holders. Over a period of 3 months, we just gave it one by one. One Ardor for one NXT. So all the Ardor, the parent tokens, was already distributed to NXT holders. And of course, we like people to use NXT. We like them to buy NXT. So of course, we are trying to give good value to the token holders. The way the 50%. Okay, just to clarify, whoever still holds NXT right now, in the ICO we sold half of the Ignis. Whoever holds NXT right now will still get half Ignis per NXT they hold at the time we do the snapshot before we launch Ardor. Few days before the end of the year, we'll do a snapshot of the NXT blockchain and distribute the Ignis holding based on this and the Ardor holdings based on the Ardor asset. I think it's quite complex to explain in this forum, but we have a lot of information on our website and the wiki about how exactly this process is going to be. But the rules that guides us, yes, is always to. I think always our first priority is our NXT I like to call it community, even though not every NXT holder is actually. Many of them may be just people that come to buy cheap and sell expensive, but we have, you have to understand that we have dozens, if not hundreds, of people which are working on NXT, like for almost, some of them for 4 years from the beginning. And these are wonderful people that are doing promotion and customer support and building tools on top of NXT and so on. So of course we like to compensate these people, and we like them to continue to work with us into Ardor and into the future. So, and we see also with Gelorida, I mean, I see the trend, I think, would be in 2018 into 2019, would be to start to see more corporate products around blockchain. And the people from the community are also door openers, because they all have their day jobs and they are connected with other people, and they go out and recommend our solutions and they open the doors for us. So going forward, I see the NXT and Ardor ecosystem developed as a freemium offering. So it's not really freemium because we also have a token, but the public blockchains is like a window to the features that we have, and help us to also market private blockchain solutions. Okay, so.
I know we're coming to the end of the hour here, and I know that you said that you you have a limited time to explain all this stuff. Can we talk at the end here a little bit about your team, the people that you have on your team? Are you the primary decision maker on the Gelorida team, or how does that work?
So I'm one of the managing directors of Gelorida, and we have interesting structure. I like to call it meritocracy. Okay, I hope it's like this. It's definitely not. It's not a one-man show. We have quite a few people involved. We have developers. In a sense, we are too distributed. I mean, I really like all of us to sit in an office together and work, but because of how this project developed from a group of open source developers that decided to set up a company, the way we are used to work is distributed. So it's kind of in the genes of the company. So.
So the Gelorida team are not all there in Israel and near Tel Aviv. Then they're all over the world.
No, in fact, I'm the only one from Israel. So.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought that you guys were all in near Tel Aviv together or something. Okay.
No. I'm the only, I would say, important figure in the NXT that comes from Israel. We have guys from Bulgaria. We have guys from Netherlands, from Spain. It's kind of interesting, to try to manage a business this way, because you guys in the US, it's not really important if you sit in California or Texas or New York. You have the same tax authority to report to, and the same rules regarding shareholding and payroll and so on. We have a very interesting challenge when setting up Gelorida. Um, because we're mainly European operation. I mean, Israel is Asia, but okay, I'm the only one. And we're really exposed to the fact that the European Union is not really a union. It's just a monetary union and not a fiscal union.
So to wrap things up here, I know that you guys just finished, the crowd sale for Ignis. And one of the things that I've noticed at a lot of the conferences, a lot of the cryptocurrency conferences that I've been to, is that there's a lack of talent, right? So every project is trying to recruit talent for their project after they do a crowd sale, and it's a desperate need on all the projects that I've looked at. What kind of talents and engineers are you guys looking for at Gellerita, so that in case someone is watching this and they fit that talent profile, or they have the skills that you guys are looking for, well, what kind of people or staff are you looking for?
Okay, so maybe before we go into that, you have to realize that unlike other ICOs, we already have a product, okay? I mean, we're not building something from scratch right now. It's like, so we have a development team that is already working together several years. You can appreciate that it gives us a lot of a good jump start. Who we recruit? We recruit Java developers and we recruit web developers. We recruit QA and support engineers. I don't expect someone to come up with a cryptocurrency experience. I mean, it would be a good advantage, but it's not necessary in what we are looking for. I mean, we are looking for people who are good in their profession, that reliable, and like technology, like to learn, like to solve problems, and we definitely have very interesting challenges going forward. So in a sense, we are recruiting the same people that other technology companies, startup companies are recruiting.
Okay, I just wanted to have you share that out there, because I know that each project, each team after a crowd sale, that they can definitely need some more staff, to help them. So, is there any last words that you want to share with our audience in the community, the NXT community, before we conclude this broadcast about NXT or Ardor or Ignis?
So maybe just something to share. I mean, if you look at the NXT, I mean, it's in some sense it's the predecessor or the inspiration for many other projects. If you look at NEM and you look at Lisk and you look at Waves and you look at IOTA and probably 10 others that I forgot right now, all of these guys started from NXT. So it's definitely, so in some sense, we were the first. We were setting the standards. I mean, many people created very nice projects using the ideas that were initially bred in NXT. And until now, it was kind of unfair to NXT because NXT was sidesteps. And I think that now with Ardor, we have the chance to change all this, because we learned, we have a lot of perspective, a lot of experience of what works and what doesn't work, that many other groups are going to hit a wall sooner or later with their designs because they don't have this perspective. And so I think we have a huge advantage because we were the first. We were the first with proof of stake. So I think we are going strong. Now we have good funding. We have a commercial company behind us, and I definitely very enthusiastic about the future of both Ardor, Ignis, NXT, and all this wonderful ecosystem.
Yeah, I will echo what you just said there. That's what I was trying to reference at the beginning of this interview. That the guys that that started List, the guys that started IOTA, the guys that started Waves, that they all came from the NXT community, you know? And it's just interesting how all these guys that were working on NXT, all these volunteers that were working on the NXT platform back in 2014 have very, very successful projects right now. So, okay, so if you guys want to learn more about what Lior and the is doing with the NXT platform, the Ardor platform, and the Ignis child chains, you guys are welcome to go and check it out at Gellerita.com or Gellerita. I'll put it in the description, and then you guys can go to it to make sure you guys go to the correct website. Okay. So thanks for joining us on this broadcast and updating the NXT community, Lior. I know it's only been 4 years. I've been trying to get you on our channel, so I'm glad to have you finally here. And I will say this, is that I appreciate the fact that you explained everything, in my opinion, very clearly. Because I've talked to a lot of developers and software engineers, and they may be good at the software engineering, but when it comes to explaining it to the public, it's so technical that they actually confuse people. So I appreciate the fact that you were able to explain things very, very clearly and easy to understand, in my opinion, because I've talked to a lot of blockchain software engineers, and a lot of them, I just get dizzy when they start talking about it. So I appreciate the fact that you explained it clearly, and I'd love to have you back on here in maybe in the spring of 2018 after you guys launch the Ardor platform, so that you can update the community again.
Excellent.
Okay. All right. So thanks for coming on our show today, and I'll look forward to seeing you again in the spring of 2018. Okay.
Thanks.
So, all right. This will conclude the broadcast here, guys. And if you guys want to learn more about these types of videos and stuff that we produce, make sure that you go to our site at www.cryptocurrency.market/newsletter and follow us there. And then you can also follow me on Twitter at Hey Taizen. All right. So this will conclude the broadcast, guys, and I'll see you guys in a future video.